Hello, 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 welcome back to the Arcanus run of Dungeon Crawl. The continuing adventures of Arcanus as he crawls through the dungeon. Okay, as it stands, I've had a moment to reflect and I realized I'm actually doing pretty damn good with this run. The bad news is Lair has been extremely deep, and I don't like deep lairs because they are very hard to reach and it sucks. Okay, that's where the bad news ends. The good news is I got Vehumet and the temple fairly early, D5. D4 is the earliest theoretical temple, so this isn't bad. And my piety is pretty good. And despite the fact that I haven't found a good fire spell, which is what I'm really itching for, I have found some really nice artifacts already, including this plus 5-inch pair of shoes. I was able to manufacture some troll leather armor, which is going to keep me in good stead. And I've got this fire strength ring, which will eventually be my main, pretty much as soon as I start casting fire spells with some regularity. Also, I got some of the most important utility spells in the game already: Blink, Swiftness, and Flight. Admittedly, I start with this one. And Repel Missiles ain't a bad spell to have in your kibosh, so I have it. Here's the plan. I'm going to continue with my skill training. Conjurations is going just fine. I'm going to enhance my air magic and then go into a freezing cloud eventually, unless I can find a better book first. The way I see it, it is pretty much guaranteed I'll eventually find resist poison. And I'm getting pretty close to the point where Vehumet will eventually start gifting me stuff. When Vehumet gifts me the Book of Power, I'm going to have the ability to access Poison Cloud, and that's an air conjuration poison spell. My conjurations is doing fantastic, and there's no harm in having my air skill high enough that I can use that right out the gate. This looks like the opening to the lair to me. I'm seeing a lot of lair creatures, I'm seeing fancy shrubbery, I'm seeing sheep. This is definitely looking like a lair entrance to me. I'm going to back up until there are as many in my LOS as I can get in a line, and then just lightning bolt. Okay, that's enough soften. Fuck it. Mephitic. Mephitic Dart is slow, but it gets the job done. You know what? You're all sheep. Lightning bolt. No way you all survive that. And notice that the way Vehumet operates, unlike Sifmuna where I would have to make the time to channel, he's just consistently paying me back a little mana for my kills, which makes me able to sustain this offensive for a very long time. Also, my level 5 spell costs 4 mana because of reduced cost to conjurations. So again, I can sustain this for a very long time. Makes fighting with him awesome, but it also makes the idea of mana efficiency important. Whereas with a god like Sifmuna, my attitude would be much more, who cares if I'm spending too much mana, I can always just channel it back if things go south. With a god like Vehumet, it's more matter of, I'm going to give you a lot of mana. I'm going to extend your mana capacity, and I also am wearing that MP plus ring. So, you know, you're going to be okay, but if you run out, you're fucked and I'm not helping. Okay. First things first, repel missiles. Then we worry about confusing, and then we worry about shooting. Confuse. Man, that repel missiles literally didn't block a single shot from any of them. Okay, fuck. I'm pincered between Grum and this... What is this anyway? A trapdoor spider? I'll just beat it up and get past it. Not working. I'm going to use a scroll of blinking because I am dangerously low. I'm going to use a scroll of teleport because this is not any better. And I may actually have to use heal wounds pretty soon, depending how this goes. Okay, I'm in an okay situation. It is an acceptable gambit to not use the heal wounds and to rely on my regeneration for now. The situation changes. So will my tactics. Escape. I did have to use a scroll of blinking. In fact, is there a scroll of blinking that I missed? No. Is there a good scroll that I missed? It's always nice to periodically check what have I left behind. Have I missed something nice? Okay, but the answer is no. Good. Damn it! I'm losing a lot of good items to these goddamn random cold attacks. And see, the thing is, I didn't use that heal wounds. If I had used a heal wounds just to feel safer, when I didn't need to, and then on top of it lost one, my situation would actually be worse. As it stands, I still have the heal wounds for the next time things go wrong. Even if they go wrong by being shot by a cold attack that takes away one. Good players know how to conserve consumables. Great players know when to spend them. Normally the quote is with regards to food, but it applies just as well to other consumables. I'm not going to lightning bolt. I'm going to use magic dart. I want to make sure my mana is high. I'm also not going to leave melee because I refuse to let you kill me. I am going to take this longbow and remove it from this floor where there are so many of you goddamn ranged folk. Notice that it loses heads and can't regrow them because it's undead, since I'm using a slicing weapon. It's actually a really good thought process the programmers used with regards to these. Shit. I did drop my longbow of elven longbow on this floor. I can't afford to leave it lying around since there's at least two centaurs that... Well, at least there's possibly a centaur a red centaur at large. Thank you. Alright. Do the fire walk, and if you make it through, then I'll just hit you with my sword. Didn't I have an unchecked potion at some point? I must have ID'd it or lost it, either way. Ooh, yay, another crystal ball. I'm not at the point that I want to start worrying about those. Actually, maybe I should start worrying about those. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, that hurt a lot. Actually, where's that war dog I just killed? Maybe it has food. Maybe it left a corpse. It did leave a corpse. Good. I can afford to approach you. Yes, I can. I'm just going to keep lightning bolting him till he's dead. He recovers from Mephitic Cloud very quickly. The Manticore does. So I didn't want to have to deal with that. How's that freezing cloud doing? Not bad. Let's get air magic up to 6 and memorize. Actually, I can also memorize Bolt of Cold, can't I? Yeah, but I need a good cloud spell more than I need anything else, and I have a good lightning bolt for my line damage. So really, I'm playing the waiting game now on getting spells that I actually want by using spells that I don't want, but get the job done. See, and they don't get the job done when that happens twice in a row, and I can't afford to stand here any longer. Swiftness, though, is my ace in the hole there. Finally! Took long enough, but it did eventually cast successfully. Gotcha. I love it when they're just dumb enough to enter and smart enough to retreat when they're at low health, with the result that they... Jesus Christ! I need to heal wounds, because if he gets another shot like that, I will die, and if I walk away, he might get another shot. I have to approach him to Mephitic Cloud him, and now I can Mephitic Cloud. That was painful as hell. Dear God, what the hell are they feeding you? Freaking centaurs. It was a longbow. No wonder it was so painful. Anyway, that used up one of my precious heal wounds potions. I now only have one left. And for those of you who are curious why I didn't use a potion of resistance instead, I needed the health more than anything else, and once I had him in range for it, all I had to do was stop him by killing him. It's good that my, 12% fail spell, which happened to fail 4 times in a row, finally succeeded. Okay, there are slimes that are eating this level up, and I want to find them and stop them. 2 Conjure Flames usually kills a slime. Coagulated blood. I'm curious. This longbow? Yeah, okay, it was just a +2, nothing fancy. Where would these slimes be if they're slurping up the level? No idea. Well, let's finish my exploration at least. Okay. Okay, finally found the fucking lair. Took long enough, but here we are. Wizards are awesome. Let's see. So let's enter the lair. Now let's drop these fucking longbows that have been weighing me down. Also, I'll lose the potion of healed blood, and all of the books, which I don't intend to make use of, and the crystal ball that I don't need until later, and should not have been carrying, quite frankly, and these scrolls of enchant, which carrying can only serve to get them burned, and this uncursed ring of teleport. Well, hang on to that one. Ring of evasion. Yeah, I'll hang on to that too. I'm pretty close to the point where I'm going to want to swap my mana ring anyway. Okay, so right now the big thing that the next big break we're waiting for is pretty much Vehement Piety to max out and to start getting gifts from him. The Book of Annihilations will be the 3rd tier gift. I'm still playing version 0.11 because it's the stable version. In version 0.12, they've completely reworked the way Vehement works in terms of gift giving. I think it's more interesting and less reliable. So while I enjoy it, sort of, because I'm all about that reliable victory, I consider it a strict nerf for Vehement players, which is unfortunate. That said, he starts gifting you spells earlier rather than later, so a step forward, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 1 step back. Consider the following. The point of the game where you are most likely to not have a spell you need is the early game. So if you want to be... Oh, fuck. Herald. Turning on swiftness so that he can't catch me, and then... I'm going to put resistance on, because he's clearly using a wand to deal that fire damage. So resistance should help a lot, and putting ice between me and him will reduce his ability to hit me, but just killing him It's probably the best idea of all. Okay, this is weird. The wand isn't identified despite the fact that he used fire, which means that maybe it wasn't a wand of fire? Next time I come across a simple enemy, I should test it. But yeah, so the way Vehoumet works in version 0.12 is starting at very low levels of piety, I think just 1 star even, he will offer you a gift, and I say offer you, and a spell will appear in your memorized spell menu, which is a level 1 spell, usually a conjuration, that you can learn. And it is not based off of your current skill training, or if it is, it's virtually impossible to tell. It tends to just be a nice low-level conjuration or something. And then you can choose to memorize it or not. And Vehoumet doesn't care whether you accept his gifts or not. And after a few 100 turns or however many turns, you lose the ability, and then you lose the chance to memorize it, and then you're fine. And then he'll gift you another spell later, and then another spell later, etc., etc., etc. And then I think he stops altogether after like 15 spells. Or 18 spells or something. Anyway. Yes! Like I said, you were almost bound to get a resist poison source eventually, and I got it in a cloak, which is a nice place to have it. Also, Scrolls of Amnesia become very important for worshipping Vehoumet, because, you know, he can't offer me the ability to forget spells. 3 of them is fantastic, but most importantly, that was a Wand of Teleport I just zapped, which is merits identification, because Wands of Teleport are very powerful items. God, I wish the auto-drop Rotten was working. I'm gonna have to check my crawl settings file later to see what the hell is up with that. Because I should be dropping these chunks before I auto-travel, and I'm not. Okay, let's turn off air at 7. Leave freezing cloud there, that's fine. We'll just continue leveling skills. Spellcasting conjurations, what's a good 3rd skill? I guess I can trickle into dodging for a while. It's sufficiently low that I'll get a lot of benefit and sufficiently useful. Oh, I'm resistant to poison now. You all can't hurt me by poisoning me. Yeah, getting into the lair is always a happy moment for me. It feels like stepping away from the dangers of the dungeon into this relative safety of the lair. A place to grow more powerful. And that, again, is somewhat build dependent, but most enemies in the lair, with the exception of the Hydra and the spiny frog, most common enemies, with the exception of the spider and the Hydra and the spiny frog, are not mephitic resistant. There aren't a whole lot of undeads and zombies and stuff wandering around here. So, yeah. And of course, at deeper levels of the lair, the game kind of changes again, and you get, like, high hit dice monsters that can totally resist, even if they're not poison resistance. Basically, the Death Yak and the Elephant are what I'm thinking of. But, whatevs. Oh yeah, and the Black Mamba. I wonder, can it shoot through that? Yes. Yes, it can. Ow. Let's take off this buckler real quick. It doesn't help my AC as I suspected, so in other words, the buckler is really just a losing shield skill because of that -1, which is not a significant enough penalty to stop taking it because, well, taking off my shield takes my penalty all the way up to 100%. Generally speaking, it's ill-advised to fight an Occlob plant unnecessarily. It is completely unnecessary to fight an Occlob plant when, you know, you're not in any way obligated to go where it is or interested in what's near it. I could probably take that Occlob out if I had to by a combination of invisibility and mass lightning bolting, but, oh, actually, I could probably abuse the extended range of Vehement Conjuration. You know, I'm going to try this one more time. Take a step towards it, so I'm technically in range, right? But there are two things blocking its way to hitting me. And then put it in a freezing cloud and wait a couple turns. Perfect. That worked well. It's amazing what talking out loud does for making me actually think about situations. Yeah, I know this floor is incomplete, so I'm gonna try the next. I'm gonna try to find the next segment. Wow, maybe that really was the whole floor. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, I guess that might be the whole floor. Or there might be a disconnected segment that I'll find later. I gotta test up staircases, but yeah. Let's lay down some fire traps. Okay, you're standing in fire. You're not gonna live long. There we go. Elven Ringmail has 0 spellcasting penalty associated with it. On the flip side, start over. When an elf wears Elven Ringmail, it has the casting penalty of Leather, which is not bad at all, because you can train out of that pretty well. And it has AC base of 5. But I would rather have regeneration in addition to 1 less AC, so I'm going to not wear that. Also, that's what I should have been doing. So I'm going to train my armor skill at this point and try to use that to diminish the armor penalty. I anticipate that this measure will slowly help my spellcasting penalties. But as you can see, my spellcasting penalties are low despite the fact that I'm wearing this armor, because I have already trained those spells so high that it doesn't matter as much. In other words, as I said before, the best way to reduce a spellcasting penalty is to train the spells, even if you're wearing an armor. I don't mind Ignite Poison. It's a reasonable spell. I just don't have a lot of use for it right now since I don't have any poison, and I'm not approaching poisonous enemies with any regularity. Thank God I opted to go the Lightning Bolt route, or I would have been going a long time without a second tier damage spell. You know, something higher than level 2. You, sir, are not going to live. Okay, confused a lot of you. Oh my god, there's a lot of you. And I'm poison resistant. I can walk into my own Nephitics now. And I can melee poison rats without getting poisoned. Yeah, that would have been a cool time to ignite poison. And I can eat them. Oh, I gotta remember this stuff. Let's electrocute the Necromancer. And then confuse him. And then put a fire in between me and the Simulacra. Because, you know, ice things melt in fire. Clearly you're not taking sufficient damage. I'm gonna have to bolt you to death. And then eat you. Okay, a good opportunity to employ swiftness would have been here. But since I don't have the opportunity to set it up, let's just put some fire clouds in. Do you guys seriously not see where I am? What the fuck? I'm standing right here. I have no stealth enhancers. You guys are stupid. Okay, let's drop these new rations. And lightning bolt the Ladia. It's 3 hits. It's another 3 hit. That's a confuzzling and a pummeling. Awesome. Things are looking up. Did I just miss a staff? I did. Staff of Conjurations makes all my conjurations more powerful. And hey, guess what? Conjurations are like half of what I do. So, look at my lightning bolt now. Missing 2 pips, right? Look at it without the staff. Still missing 2 pips. In other words, the staff is not boosting my power enough to take me to the next tier of power on the display, but behind the scenes it's totally still helping. I'm thinking... Wow, I have Hungerless level 5 casting? Good God, what is my spell casting at? Not even that high. I guess it's just the really high intelligence I have. Okay, that looks like a solitary elephant, so let's just lightning bolt him to death. The thing about solitary elephants is there's no such thing. They almost inevitably are not solitary. Turning on swiftness so I can get a lead. This looks like a good spot. Freezing cloud the hallway. And then electrocute him. Pretty effective 1-2 punch, huh? Okay, he's down, and I'm nom-nomming on him. Just drop all your current food. Actually, let's drop a ration of each, and my full stack of small foods except for 1, because this is getting ridiculous. Just trumpet it all you like, huh? You just keep doing that. I'll just keep shooting you. Oh, I'm not wielding the captain's cutlass anymore. Gotta remember that. You know what? I need to switch up my lettering again. I like using lowercase w and lowercase e so that I can tap WWWE to rapidly wield and then change what I'm wielding when I'm hot swapping. Since I generally open with a spell to blast things from range, I would like to keep my power enhancer as my main, and then swap it as necessary. Was that a shield I saw? It was a shield. Once my armor skill is up where I want it, I'll start worrying about the shield skill. Because I think you need to get shield skill all the way up to like 9 to use a shield, a real shield, on a normal sized character without penalty. And the chance is as least as good as not that I'll find a better shield by then, or have lost interest in training shields for some reason. God, that's cool. Knowing that this spell is Hungerless means I can spam it a little bit more, and that is going to speed up my lair clearing. Not today, sir. Actually, I'm poison resistant too, aren't I? Take me to the nearest food corpse, and of course it rotted on the way. Okay, next floor. Come with me, sir, if you want to live. Psych! If you want to die! Yeah, that wasn't terribly clever. I may have a 31 intelligence, but I am not clever. This is a brilliant place to use a massive ice cloud, because they'll blink around a lot, sure, but they're going to end up clustered in this area, and ice is going to deal so much damage to them that they're probably just going to be, yep, they all died already. And note that I get mana back on kills, which means that any kills, not just conjuration kills, which means that if I drop an ice cloud, which is a conjuration, and then wait, I'll get all that mana back because creatures are going to keep dying in it. You know, if I force them to enter it. Yay, my first spell gift. I will look at it as soon as I'm done raping rats. Sorry. Raping is not a good word to use. Killing rats. Okay. Poison Cloud, excellent. Iron Shot, excellent. These are the high-level spells, single damage target spells that I wanted. Bolt of Magma is okay, but I would rather just skip it and go straight to Fireball. How am I doing for spell levels? I have 10. Can only pick one. I'm already using Freezing Cloud, so let's skip on Poison Cloud for the moment and pick up Iron Shot. No, but I can't train Earth Magic very easily yet. Let's go Poisonous Cloud plus Ignite Poison, which I can't afford. Okay, let's just go Poisonous Cloud then. So my current single target damage spell is Lightning Bolt, which happens to double as a multi-target damage spell. And I have a pair of cloud spells that I can use to kill enemies over time. And wouldn't you know it, I just happen to be in a situation to use them. I'm going to confuse the door to prevent all of them from quickly rushing out. And then I'm going to cast massive swaths of poison. And worse, freezing. So that anything that's still inside is going to be suffering. And the few things that didn't get hit will now be lightning bolted. And thanks to the Vehement system, I have full mana, because all of them have been dying and just feeding me mana back. In fact, that one bee at the end took more mana than all of them put together because I had to shoot him manually. And a Hydra shows up. This would be a great time to set up the fight with an ice aura and then lightning bolt him when he approaches. Already chipping off at that castability issue. Kind of want to start training fire now, but whatever. See, this is my problem. I really, really like fire. Okay, did you catch a glimpse of that? That was Fanar. He is able to cast a spell that deals ice damage in AoE and destroys my potions. He also has massive ice resistance, typically, as much as 2 or 3 tiers. I would love to burn him to death, but I don't have the option because I don't have any fire spells. I don't have vision of here, which means he has to walk to here to see me, so if I put a fire right at the door, he won't be able to walk in. That gives me time to drop all of my potions on the floor before I approach him. Now he can't destroy my potions. That was the plan. He can still potentially deal a lot of damage, but if I get a confuse off, now he can't. And of course, he's confused. That doesn't mean I can't lightning bolt him. Lightning Bolt is a lousy single target damage spell, unfortunately. Maybe I really should consider investing in learning Iron Shot. Whatever, I'll be gaining more spell levels as time goes on, so I'll have my chance. Hey, that was a Ring of Ice. Interesting. Do I have Fire Resist? No, I don't. Because what I'm thinking is I can put on the Ring of Ice temporarily to make my Freezing Clouds more potent, and then just stop using it once I come to the point where I'm actually using fire instead. God, that's awesome. Look at that. Look at that devastation. Fanar is also one of the very few credible threats in this game, outside of Icy Hell, that uses ice. So you might ask why I'm not using the Staff of Conjurations, even though I went through all the reasons why it's the right choice. The answer is I'm too lazy to keep swapping, and I do like the ability to use the colors. Okay, this is great. I keep closing the door. Maud is forced to keep opening the door, and every turn she does, she's taking massive damage from the Freezing Cloud, till eventually she can't because she's dead. It was a very nice setup for me. Freezing Cloud has so much utility at this point in the game. And I want to point out again, my ice magic is at 0. My air magic is at 7. I could have swapped those two numbers or made them both like 4 and had the same effect. In other words, you don't have to massive train ice magic just to get a useful freezing storm. Especially if you're the thing is I'm going Conjurator, and because I have such a high conjuration skill, it pulls up all my conjurations, regardless of whether or not I'm trained in that school. Though putting a point or two in anything really helps. It goes a long way, actually. Like, I should really consider putting one or two levels in ice magic. The only reason I'm not is because I know I'm going to forget the freezing cloud spell pretty much as soon as I get a good fireball. Although, actually, maybe it would be smarter not to. I mean, it does proc off of air, and it is more damaging than poison cloud. Immediate damage, I should say. I don't know. I will play it by ear. Let's lose the Potion of Might. Any situation in which I would use that, I would just use the Potion of Berserk Rage, pretty much. You know, a last-ditch attempt to kill something using melee rather than magic. You know what? You're too slow to escape it, so Freezing Cloud, Lightning Bolt, hit you with a goddamn thing. Okay, you weren't too slow to escape. That took way too long. Am I carrying any rotten chunks or stuff? Oh, I'm carrying 14 honeycombs. That's my problem. I'm gonna have to lose honeycombs, or lose everything but honeycombs. Let's lose the apples and half the honeycomb stack, and I should still be fine. Okay. You know what? Plan B. That would have been a good time to use Poison Cloud in retrospect, but I'm not actually interested enough in clearing that right now to go back for it. Because I'm getting pretty close to the limit of my time, I'm just going to focus on finishing this floor and then we'll be done for now. But yeah, that was a pretty successful opening. Blink Frogs hit like a fucking truck. It's weird too because they don't look like it, they just look like frogs, but they're freaking armored bears is what they are. Have to hit the snake. Okay, snake's down. Now I can shoot everything else with relative leisure. I storm everything. Yeah, the persistence of these clouds is what really sells them. Even over Fireball, to be honest, because Fireball, you do it, you fire it, you hit things, it's done. But with Ice Storm, or with Freezing Cloud, it just stays and stays and stays. Doesn't do as much. Fireball does a little bit more damage and is also lower level though, so you know it's got pluses and minuses. I would like that wand. I wonder if I can just disintegrate into it since I can't dig yet. Sure can. And now I have something to test it on. And it has no charges. Didn't do anything, so IV, inscribe, probably dig. I mean, I'm not sure what else would have literally done nothing when I point it and shoot it. Let's test what this artifact is. A source of resist electricity and resist poison. See, but for the fact that I had the poison resist cloak I had found, I would be changing to this. I am going to continue wielding this, however, because Nicola is named unique who can kill you in seconds, if you, in fact, in one turn, typically, if you lack resist electricity. And if you have resist electricity, you have a much better chance of successfully running away from him. So it's always smart, until you have addressed the threat of Nicola, to always carry a source of resist elect if you have one hand, if it's convenient, which in my case it is. Potion of Resistance is another such item where it's like you don't generally need it, but always have it just in case. Yeah, I really want everything on my left hand. Okay, there we go. That's more what I'm talking about. Poison Arrow is an excellent single target damage spell for a long time. And given that I've already trained Poison Magic, I haven't really trained it. Shit. Iron Shot or Poison Arrow is something I'm going to end up with in my final set, is the bottom line here. Let's lose the Wand of Lightning, which I obviously have no need of. I have my own lightning bolts that deal a lot more damage because I have a lot more skill behind them. To raise wand skills, you need to raise evocations, and I obviously have put no points in that. Although I might actually consider changing that approach pretty soon, if for no other reason than because I do have that crystal ball waiting. Which, again, for those of you who know what it is and know why I care. For those of you who don't, I will explain if it becomes relevant. Come on, come on. Oh, god damn it. Just blow you out of the water. Okay, I guess this is the entirety of this floor. Well, like I said, I should probably quit when I'm done with this floor, so that means now. Quickly taking a look over my item situation here. Picked up some interesting stuff, in particular the Wand of Resist Electricity. Finally got the Book of Annihilations, which gives me access to suitable late game spells, including Poison Cloud, which I already had, and Poison Arrow, and well, no wait, Poison Cloud doesn't give me access to, but suitable endgame spells, including Iron Shot and Poison Arrow, and not Iron Shot, Poison Arrow and Firestorm, which are really what I wanted for. At this point, I'm seriously considering pre-training fire. I have my heart set on doing fire, so that's what I'm going to do. But it is strictly a bad idea to train a skill for a spell you don't have, and then to the detriment of the spells you do have. That's why Conjurations is a safe bet. I will always want more of it. I got Hungerless level 5 lightning bolts. I've got very reasonable freezing clouds and poison clouds, and even have Staff of Conjurations, which if I wield gains me one more pip on both poison and freezing cloud and lightning bolt, all three actually. So actually I should consider using it more. Captain's Cutlass for good melee weapon, short sword artifact for resist electricity. This is turning out to be a very reasonable run. I cannot complain about that. Anyway, that's it for time for now, so hope you all had a good time. I will see you next time.